If you think your short-term failure will jeopardize your long-term sustainability, you are absolutely wrong. Welcome to Monday Money Moves. I'm Michael Abayomi, also known as Spring Boss, and of course, I'm the Group Managing Director and CEO, Asset and Equity Group, a leading investment banking institution in the heart of Lagos Island and Victoria Island, Nigeria, and other major cities of the world. This week, we will be looking at long-term planning as an essence or as the essence of all entrepreneurial ambition, as well as journeying into greatness and indispensable relevance. Come to think of it, what is planning? Planning is the architectural and structural design or image of what you want to achieve or what you want your company to be or not to be. Simple, right? No, not that simple. Using the word architectural and structural design makes it look much like building a house. And while they are quite similar, planning for a business is a lot more complicated. For example, if you want to build a house, you may outsource every stage of the process, including pre- and post-construction activities. Whereas in business, if you outsource every stage of your business, then you are clearly not an entrepreneur, but an investor. Being an entrepreneur means you are actively involved in business, which is totally different from being an investor, which simply suggests provision of resources. Okay? Note that the end goal of most entrepreneurs is to eventually become investors, but that's not the topic for today. And so, planning requires deep level of understanding of your chosen journey. For example, before you can really plan to run a successful bank, you must deeply understand the banking system and its overall environment. Generally, every business should set out to meet two fundamental goals and objectives. Number one is the immediate goal, and then the second is the future goals. Okay, and this is applicable to every successful business anywhere in the world. So the immediate goals point to short-term targets of businesses, that is the low-hanging fruits that the business must achieve in order to survive till the bigger goals are achieved, and then further to sustainability. So the future goals are usually the bigger targets that businesses must work hard towards achieving, mostly long-term goals. So Tony Elumelu, founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and of course the chairman of the United Bank for Africa, one of the biggest banks in Nigeria, West Africa, said, and I quote, "You must think long-term, so short-term failures do not hold you back." Coming from a banking and an entrepreneurial guru, you better take that to the bank. Globally, the world of business is a unique one, and this cuts across all sectors and industries. Sometimes, what becomes a hit may be some of the most unrealistic business plans. For instance, look at the Air, Bed and Breakfast, of course, also known as the Airbnb. Look at the story. I mean, who would have thought that one day people would willingly welcome total strangers into their homes? And who would have thought that anyone would have wanted or would have actually allowed himself to be taken to and sleep in someone else's house who is totally unknown to them? Also, think of Zoom. When Zoom started to develop a virtual meeting platform, most people will doubt the rationale behind that, I'm sure. However, with the outbreak of COVID-19 last year, Zoom started to make financial sense. Although, personally, I think this Zoom case is one of those do not try this at home kind of business situation, because the same COVID-19 killed many businesses, and we know. At the end of the day, doing business is a risk. You can lose everything and you can gain a lot more than you bargained for. Also take note that getting validation is good motivation for businesses. However, it is not a guarantee for success. And I'll prove it. There's a company called BeatPass. When we talk of motivation in business, it usually comes in different forms. Okay, it could come as a form of mentorship, could come in the form of money and maybe other resources. However, BeatPass in this case was a company that gave people a platform to make micropayments online. Very promising company so promising that it raised about $12 million when they launched. Okay, that's some high-level motivation, but then after a while it shut down. So this proves that sometimes money is not really the problem. How important then is planning to businesses? Planning is the directional movement of all activities that lead to the achievement of goals and objectives, without which no business can be coordinated. The best plans are better written down. However, not all plans are well articulated and written down, but at the very least, planning must happen in your mind, no matter the kind of business you are thinking of doing or that you are doing. That is, you must have a mental picture of what you are trying to achieve, and you must be able to explain it. You see, I always like to say this: if it doesn't work on paper, it won't work in real life. Jack Ma of Alibaba famously said that he didn't have any written down plan when he started Alibaba. But trust me, his mental picture, going by things that he said afterwards, were very, very strong. At least you can deduce from his discussion that he knew exactly what Alibaba would do. He knew exactly what Alibaba would not do. He knew exactly how it would do it and for whom it will render its services. In my opinion, Alibaba is one of the greatest examples of thinking long term. You know why? Because when the company started in China, no product or services of Chinese origin was online or on anywhere on the internet. But then, that's like starting a filling station in a country where there are no vehicles. These and more are the things that make entrepreneurs wonderfully adorable. Meanwhile, as important as it sounds, thinking long term alone is not what makes businesses great. But then, with a combination of hard work, capacity building, and diligence. Again, the beauty of thinking long term is that some businesses are not actually for today. That is, customers must first of all evolve in their behavioral pattern before the product can be accepted. And one good example of this is the e-commerce industry in Nigeria. 10 years ago, I would never have ordered any good or service online in Nigeria and make payments before it gets delivered to me. My personal opinion. I personally didn't trust the system as at then, and there are so many Nigerians like me, trust me. And so this was the struggle that many of the first set of e-commerce companies in Nigeria had to deal with, and many e-commerce companies went down because of that. But today, people freely make payments online for goods that they have not seen, for goods that will be delivered in days and all. You know, the message is that whenever you are starting out or you are running a business, think long term, and that's your number one. Number two, be quick about it. And three, put in the work. Put in the work. So guys, that'll be all for this week's episode of your favorite finance blog, the Monday Money Moves. Next will be top news. Welcome to the top news session of your favorite finance blog, the Monday Money Moves. Our news for this week is taken within Africa, within West Africa, and exactly within Nigeria. A $2 billion fintech startup has become Africa's first unicorn. Okay, this is the story of Opay and their journey from being a startup that is known for motorcycle riding in Lagos to becoming a financial services giant worth 2 billion naira. So this is all pointing to thinking long term, okay, and setting goals and objectives within your short term all the way to the long term. Remember earlier on in today's video, I mentioned that, we have to keep to, surviving through achieving our short-term goals while we aim for the bigger picture, which is the long-term goals. So long-term goals are much bigger, okay, while short-term goals are, the low-hanging fruits here and there that you can easily, achieve while you use it as a step to springboard into your long-term goals. So how is this relevant to the OP story? It's really clear. It's as clear as day. We can tell from the fact that they started off as a motorcycle hailing company. Okay, it's cheaper, far cheaper to start a motorcycle business in this part of the world. I think a motorcycle costs roughly 200,000, which is about give or take $400 to acquire one, and you really don't need to acquire a lot to have a fleet of that. And when you start, you can even go running some form of aggregated constructs that allows other owners of motorcycle to join your pool and take it off from there. However, the point here is how they did not define their humble beginning, but used it as a stepping stone into the greatness that they have achieved today. And that is the story of Ope in Nigeria. There's so much to learn from it. There's so much any seasoned entrepreneur, no matter how experienced or non-experienced or not experienced that you or inexperienced as you may be, there is always one or two stories that you can pick from this situation. And that will be all for the top news session of your favorite finance blog. Next will be quote of the week. Welcome to the quote of the week session of your favorite finance blog, the Monday Money Moves. The quote of this week is, planning makes every decision intentional. What do I mean by this? If you are wishing for something, or you have it in your mind that you are about to do something, if you have not really taken steps to design how you want this thought of yours to play out, if you have not made any decisive moves around what you are thinking about or what you are thinking to do, you are really not ready to take action. The moment you are ready, a plan must be made, whether written down, whether structured out in documents or whatever, or whether the one that you just have in your head, just like a mental picture of what you want to achieve. A plan is a plan. Okay? Whatever it is you intend to achieve, a plan is inevitable. A plan cannot be discarded. If you don't have a plan and you want to do things, you may end up doing something else if there is absolutely no plan. If you don't have any plan, no mental picture, no written down plan, no structured out arrangement or set out of or a lineup of tasks or however you want to achieve what you intend to achieve, you might end up doing something totally different from what you even set out to do. But if you have a plan, there is possibility of pivoting around that plan, but the goal is not lost. There's something known as pivot strategy. The pivot strategy talks about you hovering or moving around a plan. Okay, you may make some changes along the line, along the process of executing your plan, but the goal of that plan is not missed. The goal is not diverted. There is absolutely no much of a drift as regards the objective that you have set out to achieve. However, a plan must be a plan. You must have a plan, and that plan must be well articulated. It doesn't have to be written down, but you must have a set of rules as to what that plan is, what that plan is to do, and what that plan is not supposed to do. So a plan is not about what you want to do. It's also about what you will not do or what you do not want to do. So you don't deviate from the original plan. Thank you for listening. This will be the end of this week's episode of your favorite finance blog, the Monday Money Moves. Next week promises to be even more informative and really interesting. Thank you for joining.